Alright. Morel's Finest. 5372. Small block Chevy Street Performance Roller pieces of shit. And I'm just going to say what they are. Okay. These things have been nothing but a pain in my ass. From day one. They're noisy. They do not oil very well. Tinker toy ass little oil pressure port in them that faces the center of the lifter valley, which I don't think is very good. You can't, supposedly they want you to run really thin oil with these. Not all engines are set up to run thin oil. So, I like oil pressure. I don't know about anybody else. Anyhow, it started off with number 6 when we got the engine back after the cam replacement lifter fuck up. Machine shop put it all back together. Number 6 was tapping its ass off because it wouldn't, no hole right here, couldn't get no oil. Got another set put in it. Okay, I can pull the lifters out without pulling the intake. There's holes in the head and I can fish them up through with magnets. I just got to pull the guide plates and the rocker studs to get them out. So we replaced that. Down the road, number 4 decides, which is this set, it doesn't want to oil right. Hardly any oil coming out of one and basically none to speak out of this one. Just out of the blue. So we replaced that set. Then number 3 did it. And the funny thing is, all of the other sets, the 2 on either side of it, were getting plenty of oil both times. It's just the one particular lifter. It's a pair of lifters. And of course, if one goes bad, you got to replace them both. You know, $115 every time you got to buy a pair of these. So we replaced them. They're still noisy. Now we got attacking noise on the passenger side again. These are junk. I don't care what anybody says. They're junk. So I'm going to remedy that. No, I'm not buying another set of link bar lifters. That's the remedy right there. Much better designed lifter. Yep, these are factory. These are actually LS7 lifters. But they're the same as goes in a late model small block that has a roller cam in it. Dinky danky ass hole. Huge hole. And it faces right where the oil comes into the lifter board out of the block. Same setup on the bottom. As far as push rod length, same. Cup height is the same. Now you can go look it up and it'll tell you this is 266 and this is 234. But if you set these both flat on something and you set a push rod down in them and you go up there and you measure from here to here, here to here, it's the same. Identical. They're so close it don't matter. But the question is, how am I going to keep these from doing this in the lifter bore? Well, same way GM did. We're going to use these. Same way GM did it. Well, how am I going to keep these in place? Because, you know, when they're sitting in there, they're like that. They're like pretty close to the top of the lifter. Not quite flush. What's going to keep them from popping off? Well, factory spider is what's going to keep them from popping off. Well, factory spider is designed to set on top of 3 elevated bosses in the intake valley. That'd be correct. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mimic those 3 raised bosses with 3 billet aluminum spacers. I'm going to drill and tap the lifter floor. I'm going to use a factory 3-bolt spider, and I'm going to put 1/4-20 studs in it, Loctite them in after I drill a 3/8 deep hole, 3 of them. And then I'm going to put my billet machine spacers in there. And then I'm going to put the spider on. I'm going to undercut the spacers by 20, possibly 30 thousandths. Put a little more tension. And then I'm going to put them in there. Put the spider on it. A stainless flat washer. And a stainless lock nut. And call it done. I've done this twice. So I know what I'm up against. That block, the lifter valley floor will work. I don't have anything that's going to obstruct it. And we're going to get rid of these, which I think the whole problem with these, they may know more than me. They own a multi-million-dollar company making fucking lifters. But that's about the most piss-poor oiling system I could come up with. Why couldn't they do the same thing as a factory lifter and put it in the side? Why is it got to be over here in a dinky-ass tiny hole? Why couldn't they just... I mean, it looks just like a factory lifter. Why couldn't they put it over here and do the same thing? I just don't get it. Except they had to be different. I don't know. They spoke so highly of these. Everybody, you know, Morel's the best. Morel's the best. Should have put Johnson's in it. Anyhow, I'm not buying another set of lifters because it's obvious by the date. I've owned these for a while and they're brand new and it says made in the USA. So that's what's going in it. I'll drill and tap 3 holes 3/8 of an inch deep. I'll tap them, then I'll use a plug tap, then I'll use a bottoming tap, and that's why I've got to wait till this weekend to do this, because I had to order a bottoming tap. I ordered 2 of them, and I really didn't have any drill bits. Was it 13/64 or a number 7 for a 1/4-20 tap? So I didn't have any that I felt were sharp enough to drill. So I ordered some Bosch cobalt bits to drill that with. And the way I'm going to do it, just like I've done a 638 block with the engine still in the vehicle. Okay. Let me get one of these lifters back out so I can use it to simulate something. Alright, do it with it in the car. Cool Whip bowl, thin plastic, works great. Cut you a little X, or you can cut you a small hole, works even better. Okay, and you push it down over. If you have like a 638 block that hasn't been drilled and tapped, and you push it down over the boss. Go to the dollar store, get you some cheap ass Play-Doh. Modeling clay works really good too. And you put it around the base of that to seal it. After you've already center punched your bosses where you want to drill your hole, you drill your hole 3/8 of an inch deep, you tap it. When you're done, you take that clay and just roll it and wad it up and pick up all them shavings, pull it off, the bowl off, and go to the next one. Okay? If you're going to do it on a flat bottomed lifter valley, same scenario. After you get center punched, all you need is a small hole big enough for your drill bit to go through. Okay, you can just put that same Play-Doh or modeling clay around right here. Okay, you can also put a little bit on the bottom to make a seal and push that down, And then all you gotta do is drill your little 13/64 hole. And then you can drill and then you can tap it. And then you can take this back off. Use a modeling clay. Just hold this down with a finger. Just take the clay and wad up the thing and pull it off. And you got your hole, and you don't have to worry about metal shavings going down in the block or anything. I've done this twice. I've done it on a regular old school block with the flat lifter valley. And I've done it on a 638 late model one-piece rear seal block that had the 3 bosses but weren't tapped. Hold on a minute. Enough! Enough. Sorry about that. Somebody was walking their dog and my dog's seen them barking at them. So, but that's the game plan. We're going to get rid of these. And we're going to use these. Use the same push rods again that I got. These have a much larger oil port in them. The oil port is sitting right where the oil feed comes into the lifter bore. So it's a direct path. It don't have to go around the lifter and find its way in to a gnat's ass size hole to get into the lifter. Okay? It's going to follow the path of least resistance, which means directly into the side of this lifter. And then we're going to retain it with the factory retainers, the factory spider, because it uses 3 bolts rather than 2, like the aftermarket one does. And also the fact that I already had the lifters, already had the retainers, and I already had the spider sitting here for something else. I'm just going to use it on this, and I'll buy new lifters and stuff. So this all was got for an engine that we didn't end up putting together. Sidetracked. It was going to go in something else. I ended up selling the vehicle. And when I did, he bought the short block. So I didn't bother putting anything in it. But I kept the lifters and everything. Because he was talking about going this route, which all the best of luck to him. I ain't heard nothing from him, so I guess it all worked out. But anyway, I will never ever buy another set of these. These are, to me, are garbage. And I'll tell you something else too. If you ever use a small base circle camshaft or even a reduced base circle, don't put these on it. You better go get the right lifters for it, because if you put these on it, the first thing you're going to notice is a loss of oil pressure. That'll be your first clue something ain't right. Especially when the engine gets hot. But yeah, I'm done with these garbage ass lifters. I mean, if you used them and had success, more power to you. But to me, I don't think it's a very good design. Just from a basic gearhead standpoint. Minuscule hole, placement of minuscule hole. So, and they want you to use like 520 or whatever oil, thin oil with them. I'm using 1030. And here's the thing too. When we primed this, normally you spin the drill, spin the oil pump. Oil will come up through the rockers and all without issue. I'd have it come up through like 7 and 8, and it'd come up through 1 and 2, but we'd have to turn the engine over to get it to come up through 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it took a little bit to get the oil to come up through the lifters. And it wasn't the block, it was the lifters with 1030. The engine currently runs. All the lifters have oil coming through them, but they're noisy as hell. And like I said, now I've got another tapping on the passenger side bank. Whereas where this set come out of, it was doing the same thing. We replaced them, the tapping went away. Now we got tapping again. The engine carries 70 pounds of oil pressure cold, and when it gets to 180 degrees, it carries 55 pounds of oil pressure with 1030 in it. So it's not a lack of oil pressure. The oil is not too heavy. 1030 is pretty damn thin when it's hot. It's the lifters. I don't know if it's a check ball design, the diaphragm, the body inside itself. But here's the shitty thing is, with the link bars and the rivets, you can get snap ring out, but you can't get the plunger out. Cannot get the plunger out. And you notice these have been setting. That one there, see it's still got oil in it? That one's bone dry. These are the two that weren't getting oil through. This one got a little bit, this one wasn't getting any through it. They were in the beginning when we first put the engine back in, but then it got where it wasn't getting no oil. They all primed up fine in the beginning. But over time, this one got where it wouldn't get no oil. And there's no trash or nothing. You can't even blow 150 psi air pressure through this. You try to blow air through here, nothing comes out up here. You can try to blow air through here and nothing will come out down here. So, and this is the one we stuck. I stuck it in the socket, a deep socket, clamped in a drill press vise, put a push rod in the drill press and put it down in here, and I leaned all my 220 fucking badass pounds on it and could not get this plunger to move. Should be able to push him down and bleed him off. Nope. Nope. So, anyway, that's what we're going to do. Again, getting long-winded here. These are going back in it. I'll drill and tap the lifter valley. I'll show you how I do it when I do it. So, maybe it'll help somebody else. But till then, stay safe. God bless. Later.